Hey guys, Miles today bringing you a brand new video. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded. I believe it's been 1 month actually since my last upload. Before that it was 4 months ago, and before that is actually 5 months ago, which was my 1 week review on Apex Legends. Today's video though, I do want to touch back on why I think Apex is still my favorite battle royale on the market. In the background you're going to see some gameplay from my Twitch stream, which will be linked in the description below. Not a bad gameplay. Teammates both went down fairly early in the game, and I ended up coming back and clutching up with a nice little W with the flatline and longbow combination stolen directly from Shroud after seeing a clip of him going off with it on Apex or on Instagram. So first off, I want to knock out a couple of complaints on the game and some of the community complaints and feedback that I've seen on Twitter and on Reddit. And the first thing, and this is applied more towards the end of Season 1 going into Season 2, and I think it's something that that Respawn has improved on, and that's lack of content, lack of updates. Communication has been pretty good on Reddit. They're pretty active with the community, but the content throughout Season 1 was pretty poor, the lack thereof I should say, and the updates and patches were pretty infrequent, and it took a while to fix certain bugs in the game. And that's something I saw a lot of people complain about, and it's something I think that has been kind of addressed and fixed going into Season 2. I think content can still get a little bit better and a little bit more common, but it's something that I think Respawn is addressing and they are working on and improving on, ultimately. The second complaint I have on the game is really going to come down to the map change going into Season 2. I'm not a fan of dynamic maps in any way, shape, or form, never have been and probably never will be, unless a game manages to pull it off in a way that does not affect gameplay. What do I mean by dynamic map changes? If you guys have played Apex Legends Season 2, I'm sure you've noticed some giant dinosaur-looking things running around the map, and every so often, I believe it's based on a time limit, they will actually raise up a foot and then bring it back down on the ground, causing the entire map to shake, and it can throw off your aim if you're in the middle of a fight. It can actually step on you and kill you, and these are reasons that I think, this is why I think dynamic map changes shouldn't be in the game, is because it directly affects gameplay in certain areas. It's something, again, I've never been a fan of. There was Launch on Black Ops 1 that shook the map. Battlefield 4 had a building that when it got destroyed would kind of shake the whole map. Anything like that I just can't get behind because it removes a level of competitive edge on the game. And other than that, all of my complaints are really, really minute and can be fixed easily, such as the disruptor rounds. I think the triple take needs some work. Anything like that. These are small tweaks in the game that I find frustrating right now, but I do expect them to get better over time and as Respawn releases more patches and updates. So without any further ado, I will get into the positive side of this review, because it is a mostly positive review. Again, I just wanted to knock out the negatives in the early beginning of the video. So first off, the game is fun, and this is why it's still my favorite battle royale. It's just pure fun. The dynamic of the game, the movement, the pacing, everything about it is just a fun game, and I think that's something really important. If you look at Fortnite, I found that game incredibly fun for the first 3 or 4 seasons. After that, I started to lose that kind of fun aspect. It got a little too sweaty for my liking, which I'm not opposed to, but the way that Fortnite constantly updates drew me away from the game. It was actually too common, of too much content and too many updates and patches and changes. So again, the movement, the pacing of the game, all the legends having their own abilities and ultimates, they really just offer different ways to play the game, different ways to make it fun. If you're playing with a full squad and you guys can kind of use certain mechanics to your liking, with caustic traps and Pathfinder zip lines, anything like that, it's just fun, and it leads to things being competitive, different, but you can still, come in and do work on a consistent basis. Obviously, that can lead to some frustrations at times, but really that's just any battle royale game with the level of RNG, the circles and everything. There's always going to be some frustrations involved. And the next reason that Apex remains my favorite battle royale, and actually I think it's the most competitive battle royale, comes down to the weapons and the way that weapon varieties work. If you look at games like Fortnite, I think one of the things that hurts the competitive scene is the rarities of weapons directly. 2 players of equal skill level can come down on the map one of them can get a gold variant of a weapon where the other one gets a base variant. And if they're of perfectly equal skill level, the person with the gold variant is likely to win the fight just due to the number of damage that he's putting out with every bullet. This is something that Apex doesn't really have a problem with. It does a little bit right now with certain attachments, but overall the fact that the attachments are the ones changing rarities and not the direct weapons keeps the game a little bit more balanced. If two players of equal skill level drop on the map in Apex and they both find an R301, they're going to be doing the same damage output to one another, and they can actually kill each other at the same time. Now, if one of them finds a stock or a stabilizer, then obviously that can play a role in the fight as well, but it's not as drastic as direct damage output. Now, a moment ago I said that this does have an issue in certain areas of Apex. The number one area right now is probably the disruptor rounds on the alternator and the RE45, or the hammerhead points on the Mozambique and the P2020. Now, I think the hammerhead points are less of a problem because the Mozambique and P20 require slightly more skill to use versus the alternator and the RE45 with disruptor rounds, where it's directly affecting your damage output, and being fully auto, I think they're a little bit easier to work with, and it's making a slightly negative impact on the game. Now, this is something that Respawn addressed shortly after adding them to the game. They nerfed them, I believe, 2 times within the first week. They're at a decent place right now, but I still think there's room for a little bit of tweaking. The other area where attachments affect damage directly is going to be the Skull Piercer on both the Wingman and Longbow, and then the Precision Choke on the Peacekeeper and the Triple Take. Now, with the Skull Piercer on the Wingman and Longbow, I don't see it as much of an issue because, again, these are higher skill weapons, and they do a lot of damage output already. And in order for the Skull Piercer to be effective, you actually have to hit them in the head, which makes it an even more skillful weapon. So you should be rewarded in that sense. Now, with the Precision Choke on the Peacekeeper and the Triple Take, I think it's almost the same thing, but slightly less skill involved. Reason being is that there is still a little bit of bullet spread there, and the Triple Take, for example, you can choke it down, maybe not completely, but maybe you wait for 2 seconds, let it charge up a little bit. Your spread's now going to, increase the likelihood of your spread hitting because it's a little bit more narrow, and you can just do some ridiculous damage with it. Again, it's not a huge problem on those 2 attachments on those 4 different weapons, but it is something that I think could use a little further tweaking, the same as the disruptor rounds can use a little further tweaking. The only other game out right now that's a battle royale that I think can be as competitive is PUBG. Reason being is that all the weapons in that game behave differently, but their damage output is roughly the same. Obviously, some weapons do more damage, but they tend to take a little bit more skill. The AK, for example, in any game, the AK-47 tends to be a higher damage output weapon, but your recoil increases as well, the same as the flatline in Apex Legends. And this is something that I think PUBG does really well, is its weapon balancing. And the body shields aren't too overpowered the way that they are in, say, Blackout, where the shields do make a really big impact on the game itself. Blackout, I think, is still more competitive than Fortnite, personally, but I don't think it's quite as competitive as PUBG or Apex. An argument could be made that Apex is actually less competitive than PUBG, but I think that the pacing and the amount of fun you have in Apex and the amount of engagements you can get in does lead to it being more fun. It's a better blend and mix of fun and competitive. But that was just a quick update for you guys, though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have anything you agree with or disagree with as far as my review of Apex currently, or if you guys just enjoyed the gameplay, just let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to drop into the description and check out my Twitch channel. It'll be the first link in there. You guys can come watch me live. I'm starting to get on a little bit of a schedule, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.